Dire team ban.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a second game of the night, and it should be a good one as well. Digital Chaos versus Infamous. My name is DragonDrop. I'm joined by Chicago Ted, and Ted, can you handle the hype?
Reserve time.
I can barely contain it, dude. This is going to be a fantastic match. I think both teams are coming into this one with a pretty sizable amount of momentum. I mean, Digital Chaos have won their past 2 games. Of course, Infamous have won their past 3. And the opponents were pretty comparable, too. Enemy GG is a common theme among the two of them. Both of them ended up winning against Enemy GG. So I'm thinking this match is going to be fun to watch. Now, some notable things to look out for here as we come into the matchup. Digital Chaos, we might see them go ahead and grab up an early Witch Doctor pick, as it seems to be sort of one of the things that comes out fairly early on. But Nature's Prophet getting banned out by Digital Chaos because, well, Infamous, they love to grab that hero.
10 seconds.
Do indeed, and Infamous, if you want to think about them, is maybe right up there with Elite Wolves. Actually, I would put them here when it comes to Peruvian Dota. They're very talented squad for sure, with Z-Talk at the head. Kotaro, he's been playing some pretty good carry work. He's been doing some pretty good carry work in games that I've seen them perform. So hey, DC, well, they're unbeaten actually in this particular league. They're 7-0 in the standings right now, whereas Infamous is 5-2. So DC also with momentum in that regard, but it's not an easy game in enemies in my book.
No, it is not an easy game at all. Of course, I think Digital Chaos are looking to go for that, 8-0 unbeatable. But Infamous, I mean, they've got a decent track record, and getting another win under their belt, keeping themselves on the higher end of the group would be very favorable for them. So, look to win this game, bring down the Goliath, and they're going to start it off with a Zeus pick. Fairly interesting coming out from them. It's a hero that they do have some comfort level with, so I do not think it's going to be that odd of a pick for them. But we'll have to see where they go from here. Of course, some of the things that they tend to pick this up with are the Crystal Maiden to help them span that out a little bit more, as well as provide a little bit of setup and lockdown to keep the Zeus within firing range. But have to see how exactly they want to draft around this. Digital Chaos, though, they see that Zeus pick up, and of course, some main things to come to mind are burst. Get him down fast. Some other physical damage will also be one of those things that the Zeus will struggle against. They start out with the Oracle pick, though. Very interesting to lead off this match. It's going to give them a lot of versatility as far as supporting goes.
Yeah, it's also one of these heroes that is, for me, a bit of an upgraded version of the Dazzle. The False Promise, obviously a much longer cooldown, but very, very handy to have at hand. And that allows you to get away with heroes that are maybe a little bit greedier, even in the middle lane. So you can think about someone like OD up against a Zeus. That kind of a backup, you can also scale quite nicely into the later parts of the game without really having to worry too much about dying in team fights, which is one of the obviously can have problems with, especially if you have someone like a Zeus there spamming out from a little bit too far away to actually reach. Oracle changes the dynamic of that a little bit, and that's why I like that hero being picked up this early. Odor as well, making its way through the banning stage. Also a hero that we have seen a lot of in the recent weeks. Obviously, a big amount of push that can come out of that. Very solid laning stage, very hard to deal with, thanks to that Savage Roar.
Yep. And of course, you talk about bullying Zeus out of the mid lane with something like an OD. I wouldn't be that opposed to seeing even a Death Prophet or something like that. You really want to just keep Zeus out of the lane, keep the damage out onto him. That's why I think Invoker was a pretty important ban for Infamous. He's one of those heroes that is known to just run the Zeus down. He's got superior damage, can stand up to the spam of the Chain Lightning with some pretty decent base regen, as well as some good tankiness. So the Zeus, he's going to be very susceptible to ganks. He's going to be struggle against any more solid mid laner. And again, I'm kind of expecting the Death Prophet, but really Digital Chaos can go into a variety of different directions with this mid pickup. And of course, the Enchantress now being banned out by DC, along with the Bounty Hunter. Infamous taking away the TA and the Jug.
Yeah, the Enchantress ban we liked as well. I mean, it's just that unknown quantity, a bit of extra damage out of the offlane that it's not so much sneaks up on you, but it's more of an inevitability that you don't really want to deal with. Because the build these days with the Dragonlance, relatively
10
cheap
seconds
build-up,
remaining.
adds so much utility, so much more damage to that impetus
5
from
seconds
Enchantress.
remaining.
Because it's really hard to keep it down, not even considering the
Reserve
inherent
time.
tankiness and just straight up annoyance that the Untouchable provides on top of the healing sprites.
Yeah.
Or like that ban Bounty Hunter as well, also focused on the middle lane. But the Infamous ban on TA also liked it as well. It's a decent enough hero up against the Zeus in the middle lane with the
Radiant
refraction,
team pick.
with Zeus not really having a good way of bursting through that quickly. But well, speaking of heroes that Zeus has problems with, the Viper,
Yeah.
well, a lot of heroes have problems with that guy.
Yeah, Viper is kind of one of those easy pickups, and I kind of like and
Dire
hate
team
Viper at the same time. I like him because he's so damn versatile. He's really powerful in lane, and he's really easy to play. And I'm not saying that like at a pub level. It's just he doesn't have the highest skill cap, and that is also tends to be his biggest weakness. Is he doesn't have the ability to completely outplay anyone either. Like his abilities are slows, damage over time, and slows. About it.
10
So
seconds
as far
remaining.
as the hero itself goes, it's going to be one of those that,
5
yeah, you
seconds
bully out the
remaining.
Zeus, you go for that easy lane win and try to snowball from there,
Reserve time.
but you really don't have much more than that. You're, in essence, a right-clicking carry, and that's about it. So the Viper is going to be an interesting pick there. It's going to give a little bit of room for Lone Druid to chase someone down, as well as the physical damage coming out from the two of them is going to be obscene. But, oh, an Enigma coming out too. That's going to give him a lot of lockdown, a lot of team fight. But there's also plenty of ways for Infamous to cancel that Black
Dire
Hole if
team
need
banned.
be. Doom coming out as the 4th pick. These lineups are really coming out of the left field. Wow.
They started off kind of, excuse me, started off kind of okay here. Zeus and Gyrocopter, maybe not the most common opener
10
here, save for
seconds
Oracle
Yeah.
Druid. But then they turn into the Dazzle, which has kind of fallen off here with the
5
advent of
seconds
Oracle,
remaining.
and but of course still very solid hero, especially with the Gyrocopter
Reserve
having that
time.
weave available to just boost up your flag cannon damage to high heavens. Also pretty decent up against Bear
Radiant
and the
team
physical
banned.
damage that we were talking about. But then the Viper, that's a hero that we haven't really seen a lot. We talked about him, what he can bring to the table, which is fairly one-dimensional, but it's still very effective here if he can make it work. And the Enigma, that's a hero that I have seen come out every
10
once in a while,
seconds
especially in
remaining.
American Dota, but still something that you don't really think about these days. And
5
well,
seconds remaining.
then we come to the Doom, which is a hero that I have not seen, period,
Reserve time.
for a couple of months, really.
Well, this Doom pick is kind of weird because Doom no longer has a long-range mini-stun. It's now a very close-range mini-stun. So using him to do something like cancel Enigma's Black Hole is not smart and very unadvisable. But this Enigma pickup kind of makes me wonder because Enigma can function a lot like a Darkseer, where it's not so much that he's got a big combo, which, I mean, he does. Darkseer and Enigma both have ways of disrupting team fights and being a massive power in them. But a big strength comes from the fact that they
10
can farm up
seconds
something like a
remaining.
mechanism really quickly and then aid their team in some
5
very,
seconds
very
remaining.
early game pushes. So Digital Chaos, they have a lineup that can come out of the gate
Reserve time.
running, farm up a little bit, push down a lot, and take some towers and maybe even some racks pre 20-25 minutes, and that's crippling for Infamous. Like Gyrocopter, he's decent counter pushing, but he's decent counter pushing against a lot of smaller summons. And even though Enigma, the Eidolons count as smaller summons, the Lone Druid Bear does not count as that at all. So the pushing doesn't really come from a huge amount of units, rather it comes from a couple of really, really powerful units that will just kind of run you down and deal a whole lot of damage in a very short amount of time.
And if you're DC right now, who do you consider for your 1 position? Do you just go for more push? For more
It's
direct
weird.
push for something like a Pugna? Or do you go for something tanky
10 seconds
that can
remaining.
kind of be the frontliner for you?
It's
Next
weird
Bear, I
because they've
guess.
got a couple of units that can be very
Radiant
independent. And
team
now with
pick.
this Nyx pickup, I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do about this. I mean, of course, they can run Enigma in the jungle, which seems to be the more obvious decision here. And I would imagine what we'd have from there is a Lone Druid Oracle dual lane, or even an Oracle Nyx Assassin dual lane, and a Lone Druid and a Viper solo. But that's just that. The Oracle is going to probably be either with the Nyx Assassin or the Lone Druid. Bulba's on the Druid, though, which puts Resolution on the Viper. This is a very interesting draft that they've got going on. Finally, finishing out, Kataru is going to be on the Treant Protector as the final pick for Infamous, giving them a little bit of defensive capability. And I really like this because if pushes do start to happen, the Treant Protector will make them moderately ineffective, and if they can repel them, completely ineffective.
Yeah, still, but I'm not so sure I'm on board with the Treant Protector. I mean, the ability to keep towers alive up against small pushes, it's nice to have, but the other thing that you want out of him is just the ability to stabilize lanes. And especially the middle lane, which is still gonna have a lot of problems with the Zeus, because hey, look at this Viper's damage over time. He's gonna chew through these stacks from living armor super quickly to a point where it's not even worth casting it on your mid hero. And
yeah,
similar kind of story once the Lone Druid gets the Radiance up and running. And also once the Lone Druid gets up and running, the towers will fall so quickly that it's going to be really hard for Infamous to actually repel them to a point where the living armor can get them back up to full. So it might give them a couple of extra minutes, but I'm not sure if it's enough. I'm not sure if the Treant Protector can provide enough else when that time comes to actually make this pickup worthwhile. I would rather like to see someone that's a little bit more aggressive, that can provide a little bit more damage potential. Something like a Witch Doctor. I'm not sure if that was banned out. Also something more lockdown, right? So just something more options to stop the Enigma black hole, to keep the bear from running circles at you. That kind of stuff.
To be fair, Kataru does have some lockdown. I mean, Treant Protector's overgrowth is still pretty potent, but it's a long cooldown, and I'll touch you there. It's a decent amount, but it's not something like a Witch Doctor or a Lion who's got, very low cooldown stuns that they just keep popping out in the middle of a fight. So on that note, yeah, Kataru might not provide that much lockdown, but I do still think that the living armor is going to have its impact in this game if they can repel their pushes, which they certainly can. They've got a whole lot of magical damage, which can carry them through the early game, and even the physical will start to become a pretty big issue. I'm still kind of wondering, though, as far as any hero in Infamous goes, I'm wondering where the Doom pickup kind of files into their lineup, because the Doom is pretty effective if you can get the Aghanim Scepter on someone like a Viper, but aside from that, there's no one really that you go in and say, oh, yep, there is a big major Doom target. He's going to be split pushing, and the Doom can, either blink in or Shadowblade or whatever and bring him down, which is the style that Doom kind of played before. So it makes me wonder if he's going to play it more of a Darkseer style where he too goes for some early utility items and then they use that to try to counter push.
Yeah, it's probably the idea behind it. That's something that you can get away with very easily here, just with the ability to farm that up rather quickly as well, with the extra gold from the Devour that you get as kind of mini-Midas, if you will.
Yep.
When it comes to Doom targets, I would probably say just the Oracle. Right? I mean, the Oracle can have such a huge impact in any fight with well-placed disarms and well-placed just the magic resistance coming out at the right time, blocking the Zeus ultimates, stuff like that. Also, the Force Bomb is obviously just being very, very great at keeping people alive and fighting.
Oh yeah.
So if you can get the Doom off at the beginning of a fight, all of a sudden this hero is not going to be able to give you the edge that you may end up needing here if someone like a Lone Druid is caught out. Even Resolution.
Anyway, I can agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that Oracle is the staple of the mid-game teamfight. And if Doom is able to get that out, so maybe go so Blink or Shadowblade or something like that to make that happen, to facilitate that, then I wouldn't be too surprised if Infamous can take these teamfights and get the objectives rolling that way. But well, the pause is over. Great time for us to reintroduce ourselves. For the guys who are just tuning in, welcome. My name is DragonJob, and I am joined by Chicago Ted here. This game, Infamous vs DC, a best of one WePlay League Season 3. Let's take a quick look at our lineups. Starting here on the side of Infamous in a bottle lane with Z-Talk, playing the Gyrocopter. Here, Stinger, playing the Treant Protector. Looking to support also. Looking to support will be Axel here on the Dazzle. Kotaro on the mid, Zeus. The off lane to Greedy, fittingly enough on the Doombringer.
Yeah, I was just going to say a very apt name for that.
30 seconds
Looking to the
to
other
go.
side of the river for Digital Chaos, it's going to be Yawar playing the Nyx Assassin up top with 1437 supporting him on the Oracle. In the mid, we've got Resolution playing the Viper with Bulba on the Lone Druid. And finally, Owie dropping the big ol' ultimates on the Enigma.
Now looking to now with the creeps here, coming out of the off lane, so it's gonna give Bulba a little bit of an edge early on.
The battle begins.
Particular position, and it's going to be that one position in Nyx Assassin here. I was kind of thinking about putting the Nyx in the off lane, a little bit in the safe lane. But it is going to be that dual lane together with the Oracle up here. How do you actually think about that? I mean, Nodred obviously good enough laner that he should be able to get something out of this Arms off lane, especially considering that the supports aren't all that aggressive. But this is just a zone out to Doom and force him into the jungle from minute 1.
Yeah, I think Doom is definitely going to have to play this. I think he probably was hoping for something
Dire's
like the
courier
Satyr,
has been
as the
killed.
courier does get sniped off by Excel. A fantastic movement from the Dazzle there.
Wow.
Goes immediately toward the jungle too. What a cheeky play. But yeah, he's probably going to have to head himself into the jungle and farm that up, because there's no way he's getting close to that Oracle, becoming one of the more impossible supports to play an offlane against because of his high burst damage potential, as well as his lockdown, which will last for pretty much ever if you're not safe. So one thing to note though is I really like Resolution starting items in the mid lane. He went for the Magic Wand first, has 2 tangos shared, 2 fairy fires, and a salve. This Zeus is going to do absolutely nothing to him, and if he does, well, Resolution just heals right back up. So this is going to be a very tough lane now for Kotaro Hayama to actually win. Now, breaking even he can still do, but he's definitely not going to zone Resolution out of this one, and of course Resolution with really good positioning to avoid the Chain Lightning.
Also Viper that we're thinking about him, yeah, Kotaro. He maybe a little bit frustrated already using the taunts there. I keep hearing the blinks. Yeah, the more levels the Viper gets, the more points will be going into the corrosive skin, and that makes sure that can't even use arc lighting to farm without being harassed out yourself, which is the most annoying feeling, especially with the Zeus, who need to rely on that to actually get going in the middle lane.
Well, you can see Kotaro is already taking a huge amount in this mid lane, getting out harassed, and Resolution, dare I say, has already won it pretty much 2 minutes in. Okay, that's a bit of a really, really early time to call it, so I won't actually call it, but Resolution is still doing a fantastic job. He's leading out the CS 13-3 assets denies. Of course, Kotaro still has 10, the Chain Lightning being really good at securing him a couple of those last hits, but Resolution can just walk right back up and start harassing him as such, and really Kotaro doesn't have that much to do about it.
I mean, might be a little bit too early to call and to just point at the metrics, because right now Zeus is actually still holding up when it comes to last hits. But it's gonna change any moment now. When Resolution pops itself, still 10 stick charges available. Meanwhile, top though, heroes are getting closer to each other. And there's
Excel is really
leading stun. He absolutely just gets straight and person down, gets the heal, and a short grave off though. Nothing else to really interrupt that. So, well, that was almost first blood right then and there. Now Greedy looking for more, gets the flame sword up on 1437. He is dropping quite low. Can heal himself, and Yawar is there with a mango to stop him from pursuing any further. Shortly channel fortunes and not enough to keep him in place long enough to actually burst him down. And now the heal also.
Yep.
Not quite enough to get that extra bit to stop, to bring him down.
Yeah, Purifying Flames can be both a blessing and a curse, and that ends up becoming a little bit of a curse. They tried to burst him down for that last bit of HP, but were not quite able to finish the deal. Of course, this top lane, I mean, it's become a situation where we originally thought Greedy was not going to be able to do anything, but the fact that they've got Excel up there helping him out is really the icing on, or some sort of a helping And it's giving him the chance to get in for that experience, get in for those last hits, and of course you saw they could just get up.
Might be in trouble. Resolution needs Verifier for some reason. Continuing to right-click down, Zeus does have the living armor to try and help, and Resolution dropping low into the tower, but first blood, well, another stick charge. Actually keeps him alive through there too, so yeah, first blood, no reciprocation here. In the middle lane as, well, Kotaru wants to get the rune, but just being right-clicked down by Resolution on the way back.
Magic wand, man. That's the power of the wand. You go in onto a Zeus, and if he feels like he's got what it takes to burst you down, you just come out of nowhere and prove him wrong. So that was a really good dive by Resolution. Of course, had help from Aoi 2000, but it's become a situation now where the Viper can just do that, run after the mid laner. And with someone like a Zeus who doesn't have any real escape, only has boots to get him out of there, it's really tough to run away from the Viper and really tough to keep yourself alive. So while they're diving in the bottom lane, not able to bring Bulba down though, he's getting a lot of experience from all the creeps that are coming his way. Level 5, which means his bear now has the root. And that's a real big problem for someone like a Treant who is going under tower. He gets caught with that root, he might just be dead.
Just ironic because hey, it's a tree, he has roots. Well, technically he should have roots himself. Shouldn't really mind those, but hey,
nice.
That was a bad joke for the game, so won't have to hear anymore. But yeah, I mean, once Bulba gets maybe some help down on the bottom of the with Fortune's End, perhaps channel out of the trees, they could actually make that work and actually get a kill on the tree into perhaps the Jara Castle. But right now, 1437 still up top here, making sure that Yawa is having a good time on that Nyx assassin. All the meanwhile though, so could Aoi, right? He's been farming the jungle as in any Enigma would. And he's up to level 7, very good timing. Now just looking for Kotaru on mid. Has the Malefist, Taunt will not help you there. And well, in the battle, Axel doesn't actually get the mana from Shallow Grave. Now that's a lot of hate coming his way too. Black Hole committed just to get that extra kill, but hey, I guess better put it on cooldown. This stage in the game rather than just letting a kill go.
That was a tough choice for Excel. He comes in with a full intention to get the Shallow Grave off, but it's a 1 level in Shallow Grave, which means the range of that is not that great. He was not in range after TPing to get it off, so he goes instead for the Shadow Wave to buy him time to get in closer. But would you look at that, it puts him without enough mana to get the Shallow Grave off, and then, of course, the Black Hole was there. So even if he did get it off, I'm not sure either of them would have survived there. So Digital Chaos finding a really good gank, and Kotaru, yeah, he's might be dead again. Resolution with the magic wand to get him right back up after the Thunder God's wrath. Howie very low, but neither of them have gone down, and Zitok doesn't have any way of canceling TPs. So it looks like both of them will get away alive, and Kotaru once again dropping to Digital Chaos. That is a kill, coming back in, and another kill. That's really good for Digital Chaos.
Puts Aoi very close to the mechanism with the tower going down as well. And well, we talked about it, if the tower goes down to these kind of strong Eidolon pushes, there's nothing to heal back up again for Treant Protectors, so already, especially since it's mid tower, one of the most important ones, especially for the rated side, when it comes to access to the jungle. Having that out on the field this early in the game is just gonna be such a huge boost for DC going forward. Speaking of going forward, Yawa has his level 6, has the Vendetta going, make something happen. Zitok on this tower, they know something's up, but does it actually save him here? Pops the caller down as Bulba, his bear, doing the work, gets the root. This is Showgrave just in time though this time around. So Zitok can fight a little bit more. There's some activism from Aoi though, got it here just in time. Stinger tried to help, but instead he's gonna be the one fed first. Kotaru making his way here as well. Just a little bit too late to try and burst anyone down really. Now Resolution just runs right into Axel. He doesn't see anything, just goes straight in, but now he won't be bursted down, almost no mechanism, but it's still another Verify to keep him safe. And Zitok, well, that's not land for a while, but that Carter will be kept alive by the living armor. The side of DC, not quite so lucky. Kotaru is still alive. The ultimate coming back off cooldown. Actually turned around for 2 kills. Oh, what's going on here? 437 dropping low, doesn't have his ultimate quite yet. charges, and Greedy with the score stuff. It's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, the movement speed is fantastic, and he's got the the pack leader's aura, so it's just so much damage now coming out from the Doom. You saw each and every right click was hitting for close to 200 damage, when it crit rather, so there's not a whole lot that Oracle can do against that when he's getting chased down, aside from trying to stun him out, but he was mostly focused on trying to keep himself alive, which didn't end up working out in his favor either. So Kataru, of course, getting a couple kills in the bottom lane was really big, but I think Greedy getting that kill in the top lane was equally so. I mean, get as much gold on this offlaner as possible, help him get those utility items out. Whether or not he's going for them, it looks like he's going for drums first of all, as he picks up the bracer right about now.
I was looking for more here, but other tower's not really good, but he might be able to spot out some sort of smoke or some sort of reaction, some sort of play that Infamous want to make here, and 137 is the only one that is in range, but really, not really able to commit as much. Well, he was he was in pretty deep, so nothing will come of that attempt. Maybe a tower push, but hey, what you look at, lanes being forced out, and that forces Greedy back. Try and defend at the same time bottom lane also. Reaper pretty damn close in tier 2
try to rosh here?
That, yeah.
Huh.
They definitely can. They have the bear, they have some Eidolons left. And with lanes pushed out, Infamous might not be in a prime position to go for it immediately.
Oh yeah, and Fate's Edict too, that kind of really screws up the Roshan, so they'll get a quick and easy Aegis Immortality. 10.5 minutes into this game, and Digital Chaos, of course, they did lose a couple of kills in that last engagement, but now they're going to have a little bit more power under their belt. The bear is getting ever stronger by the moment, has a Hand of Midas going and giving him plenty of gold income, and of course, a couple of other items. The mechanism was completed for Aoi 2000. Could be going for something like a Greaves coming up very soon, as he's got close to 900 gold if he wants to buy the Arcanes. Next, I'd imagine he's going to be going for a Blink after this, as he's amassed about 700, 800 gold. And of course, we've got the Dragon Lance now completed on Resolution, at least in his stash. Now he just needs to bring it out to himself.
Structures are fortified.
It's a very cost-effective item there for the Viper, considering that you could use the BKB as well as a butterfly later down the line. But this bottom tier 2, looks like Infamous want to contest it here, get the Doom of Naui, but DC are already on the retreat, and now Zetok, he's chasing 2, but caught up a Resolution in the back. The bear trying to bottom block Greedy here, trying to get a root, but all of that, just a little bit of harassment on Infamous chasing them, but more than enough to keep DC safe, and that's a Doom down, and yeah, they're gonna re-engage. Still have the momentum this lane, they have a new set of Eidolons. The tower's still
and
very,
very
low.
If they need
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, obviously you want to bring down a tower before it gets healed up again. By the Trim Protector, yeah, while on the high ground just scouting out everyone. And it was not even gonna go for that, knowing that they don't really have the advantage going up the high ground like that.
So this is, you talked about this is where the Treant pick falls short, is when these pushes become unstoppable from Digital Chaos. You can't use the Treant's living armor to its full potential, and he's had to use living armor a lot on his allies. That's been a major problem for him, because the towers are being pushed just as fast as their allies are being destroyed, and now Kataru in the mid.
Just gonna fight this, yeah. Resolution straight up walks in, starts right-clicking. Now Shellbreak comes out, keeps him safe, and Yawa actually dies for the AoE burst from Zeus alone. Also Resolution. Let's see, Aegis popped as a very questionable decision to say the least. He's gonna die again. Maybe not quite just yet. 1 for 3-7 with the false promise keeping him safe. He has enough mana for the black hole now if he needs it. Resolution will survive so far. Plus, they are aware of that threat from the Enigma here, not grouping up too much, not chasing too far, so just gonna let this go. We'll lose to Zeus as a result. I'm still not sure that was smart from DC, but I guess they get away with a blue eye, trading 1 for 1 in the end.
Yeah, and Resolution not dying there was huge. I mean, of course he died there, technically, with the Aegis Immortality being popped, but I was afraid because he was dead without any allies close by, but 1437 coming in with that false promise at pretty much the last possible moment really turned that team fight around and gave them a return kill that they otherwise would not have gotten. So Kataru getting a little pressed back a little bit, as his tier 1 should just fall here. but there's very little ways for Infamous to counter this push with Thunder God's Wrath down, Doom, not enough mana to cast it, and your War is hanging back. It looks like he maybe wants to bring down Kataru pretty soon. So he'll make his way back towards the mid.
Or just scouting out whether Infamous actually wants to react to this or not.
Yeah.
I think a bit of a utility Nyx Assassin out of the safe lane farming position, more or less. So he's playing as he would Nyx Assassin to play at this stage, so no big surprise there, no big deviations in terms of build order. Still probably looking for the Blink Dagger that you were talking about earlier. About June. Gonna give him a little bit of a boost in that direction, but the true carry here is bo1 on that alone June.
Yeah.
He's setting up money himself. 50 minutes in, has 1700 in the bank, so well, decent timing I suppose. Going for the Radiance here, especially with the Midas also accelerating that.
Yeah, and I mean, his last hit count is not really all that high, considering there's been a lot of pushing going on and a lot of just overall sort of quasi-fights. It's no shame to have this this kind of 60 last hit count, but he really wants to try to boost himself up if he's going to go for that early Radiance timing. And I would imagine at this rate, if he continues kind of speeding up a little bit, we might see a Relic come out at about the 18 to 19 minute mark, which would be huge. A Radiance at about 20 minutes, 21 minutes is going to be one of the major key points of this game. And Infamous, I'm not sure they totally have the ways to deal with that Radiance if it comes out that early. BKBs are going to be pretty much non-existent. They're not really all that tanky. Gyrocopter is going to be going for the Yasha build up first. He has a Drums which tanks him a little bit, but until then, we might have a fight here in the mid lane. Turns around with a Impale from your Ward. Doesn't catch Greedy at all, and maybe now they set up Resolution on the Stinger, get some damage off, but they're still trying to bring him down. They will eventually get him, but still no more kills happening. It's just a Triad Protector. Infamous, their tier 2 mid is open, but not wide open, and it seems DC will back off for now. Maybe group up and try to push again in the moment.
It was a bit of a weird initiation there for both teams, just kind of feeling each other out a bit, and then Stinger was like, oh, right, I'm in the front lines. Better try and get out. But at that point it was already too late. DC get a free pick off there. Well, we're looking for more Infamous, maybe trying to bait out the Gyrocopter a little bit on the low ground. Not really expecting DC to come in from that angle, but they ended up getting the better end of the stick. Now, just gonna turn it around. Keep farming up here. Resolution should have his Agnum Scepter completed fairly soon. Oh no, he wasn't turning into that. He had the Ogre Club as well as the Blade of Alacrity on the... Call that? I have no idea. On the curse, so I thought he was gonna go into the...
Doing alright. Well, I got what you mean, going into the Aghanim Scepter like that. Typically, I mean, we knew he was going to build a Dragonlance. He had the Quarterstaff in his inventory, so it was a pretty decent thing. But the Blade of Alacrity, yeah, I can see the bit of confusion as Yawar is going to bring down, or get brought down by Kataru Hayama in the bottom lane. But I can see the confusion where it's coming from, but he will end up building into the Yasha, which is pretty good on the Viper. It tends to be one of the more common items too. I do imagine that we might see an Aghanim Scepter coming out fairly soon, but for right now, it looks like DC are going to come up fairly empty-handed on the bottom lane, as everyone's either invisible or already have TP'd out on Infamous.
So I did take a drink of water, so should be alright for the next couple of minutes at the very least. But yeah, there was a clean escape from Infamous after that nice little pickup on Nyx Assassin. Didn't even see him hiding in the trees down there, but Infamous did. Who do you actually think this pace of the game favors right now? I mean, both teams was kind of farming, trying to catch the other team off guard a little bit.
That's the funny thing about this game, I think, because typically a fast-paced game you would think favors DC a lot, but because they've got a lone druid pickup kind of helping them, giving them a little bit more insurance into the mid-game, the slow pace is also working out for them, because these items are still going to come out and their farming speed is rather good. So Infamous, honestly, like, I think they're better off going for the fighting style, because the chance to bring down the druid and mitigate this effectiveness that he's going to have is more important than waiting out and hoping to get some farm on your gyrocopter and on your Doombringer. As Zetok, I mean, his items are coming out, but it's not like he gets slowed down by fighting. In fact, he can thrive very effectively in fights so long as he's kept alive, which the Treant can do, the Dazzle can do. They're very good at keeping the gyrocopter alive. So I think Infamous, they want to try to fight more, because the passive style is going to end up helping DC in the long run.
As we were talking about that, bo1 finished up the relic that's on the bears. All it needs is the recipe, about 1,000 gold away. And that Radiance will be online by that 21 minute mark, as we were talking about. And this will mean that the living armor is going to be even less effective, at least when Stinger throws that on heroes. It's also going to mean that especially Zeus and the Dazzle, these kind of squishier types of heroes, are going to be constantly burned down when the bear's on the field. Just puts a lot of pressure on Infamous in their own right. They have to take if they have to take these long drawn out fights, and DC have the capability of turning fights into that between your Oracle as well as the Mechanism on Aoi.
Yeah, and there are Sentry Wars everywhere right now on Infamous' side on the field. Like, I'm watching Kataru constantly throwing down Thunderbolts into the trees, and the Sentry Ward just keeping constant eye on your War, who is going to go on Zetok, but looks like not able to finish up the kill. The thing here, though, is that they're really afraid of this Nyx Assassin. We talked about your War not quite having the most farm in the game. He's going to have that Blink Dagger out fairly soon. 22 minutes is no shame of a time to have the Blink Dagger completed, and on top of the Arcane Boots that he's got, we're looking all right for this Nyx Assassin to have a decent amount of initiation potential, as well as the chance to get those big Ravage Impales off. So, looking towards this Nyx to have some impact once he gets that Blink Dagger out. There is going to be a scouting Thunder God's Wrath, 90 seconds now that they don't have it, and wouldn't you know it, goes hand in hand with the Radiance pickup on bo1. This might be a green light for DC to say, hey, guys, let's fight, let's get some kills, as Greedy might be there first.
They were trailing him, but Greedy, he might know something's up.
Dire's
He
middle
goes
tower
to get
is under
caught,
attack.
but well, he's a little bit too far ahead for the rest of his team to catch up, as Aoi Resolution is farming the wave instead. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Kotaro trying to keep it away from their side of the map as much as he can. Yeah, now 2 lanes with DC starting to put on pressure. Aoi just pops mech to keep the push going down here, and Infamous are kind of forced back already, huddled up beside their tier 2 in mid. Only have Zetok up at the top lane who can pick himself up a TV scroll from the side job.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to put on any sort of counter pressure that would force DC back anytime soon. In fact, he's making his way down now as the push is coming.
Yeah, and his counter pressure was mostly the Chain Lightning, but he had the he burned all of his mana with the Chain Lightning and had the replenishing rune to get him right back up with the regen, but unfortunately the Siege Creep brought down the regeneration effect. So yeah, he had to go back to base. It was pretty funny that it happened. It probably would have gone down to the Radiance not 2 seconds later as the bear was chasing him down, but still, the little things that could have been helpful to defend that tier 2 ended up becoming a non-factor, and then they lose their tier 2. Double damage in the bottom, right as the Roshan's right back. I mean, things are going really well in favor of DC. If they recognize the Roshan is up, they can take it pretty soon. But I think Infamous, they know exactly what's going on. They smoke up. They want the Roshan for themselves, or at least they want to try to take a fight. And this is perfect for them. If they can find their initiation, they might just be able to win this fight.
This fight will decide how the pace of the game shifts in the next 10 minutes or so, and both teams know what's going on. Both teams are aware of each other.
Mexican standoff.
So yeah, it's just gonna come down to who gets the initiation first, who dares to go into the Roche Pit first, or perhaps even cross.
DC are feeling strong.
Yeah. Just the presence of the bear, just the threat of the bear coming at you, just sends from the scattering. So yeah, DC we go straight back into the Roche Pit. bo1 is the only one that they really need in there. Illusion 1437 joining, though maybe a little bit too huddled up. Still Infamous. They're far away. Nyx Assassin look and scout out to confirm that fact. But DC looking scary here, scary enough to send Infamous back to base, back to the lanes to farm up instead of contesting this Roche, and that means more momentum coming their way, and potentially high ground push when that Aegis, with that Aegis in hand now for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, and one of their initiation attempts there, like they came in with the smoke, they wanted to initiate with the call down, while they didn't know that the Infamous was coming through, and then use some of the follow-up magical damage to burst at least 1 or 2 heroes down. That would have been their ideal situation there. But when they got revealed by the, not by the Eidolon, but the Eidolon scouted him out after he got revealed by, I think it was the Druid or the Viper up close. It kind of put a huge stick in the spokes, is then all of a sudden DC knew they were there, got themselves into a better position, and were ready for it. So Infamous can't take a fight when DC are expecting it. And at that point, they better not try to initiate. They ran away, and rightfully so. They'll lose the Aegis Immortality, as you said, and now have to risk DC's major pushes, as I don't know if they're going to be able to have enough gas in the tank to deal with a multiple respawning Resolution coming in, being a big damage dealer, going down, and then coming right back into the fight.
At this point, it's almost a little bit less that he's a damage dealer, which obviously is still a huge case here, only 25 minutes in, but it's also the fact that it's going to take a whole lot for Infamous to bring him down in the first place. So if you have to expend that much on the Viper, it's going to come back, then what do you have left to deal with the Spirit Bear? Would you have left to deal with everything else, to deal with the Enigma here, who then has all the space in the world in this team fight to find a good place for a black hole.
And Resolution, I mean, he doesn't have the BKB yet, so even though he's got an extra 25% magic resistance from his corrosive skin, the Zeus still can burst him down very quickly between the field of, you know, just straight percentage-based damage that the Zeus can project, as well as Lightning Bolt having a huge amount of magical damage backing it up. So Resolution still will take a pretty decent sum of damage. You can see he's already down to about half HP from the initial onslaught of Kataru Hayama, and that was just a small little inkling of damage that he threw out, only a couple of cooldowns. So this push, though, is becoming a little bit troublesome for them, as DC have broken the high ground, and Infamous, they just cannot find their initiation. Stinger is waiting on the side. It looks like he wants to pop the overgrowth. Zetok looking for the call down, but the ranged racks are down. DC are backed up, and Infamous still are coming out of their eye blinking like, wait a second, what just happened?
It just happened so damn quickly with a bear on your team. I mean, those towers don't stand a chance. You have to initiate immediately once DC reaches the high ground with that, or else you're gonna take significant building damage. But instead, Infamous, they're having a really hard time doing that. What kind of initiation do they actually have? They don't have a blink dagger on anyone. All they really have is Stinger walking in, and obviously at a point where there's not a lot of trees to be in this under, and then just walk in and get the overgrowth off.
Yeah.
It's really hard for them to do that either. So they kind of have to start running in and hope for the best on the back of the call down. This is not exactly the way to go if DC is going to be able to react to that super easily.
Well, pre-BKB, it ends up being a little bit more effective than you think, but I think the fact that they're just so scared to go into this one, and again, it's rightfully so. DC are really tanky. Bulba's hard to bring down, and Resolution's hard to bring down. It looks like they'll go up once again, another pipe, and this could just be the melee racks. I mean, where are Infamous going to go ahead and try their initiation? It looks like they're just way too scared to do it. The Glyph will get popped, and now Resolution coming through, but the double impale coming from Bulba. They'll drop a call down. That'll slow DC down. Greedy's going to go for the TP out of this one. Should get it. The damage over time might be enough to bring him down. No, it will not, as the melee racks are still falling. No one's died, but the buildings are hurting majorly.
The only thing that died was the bear, and now the Zeus coming to Yawa, coming in on the back here, and it does have buyback, so maybe it's not the call to... maybe it's not opening themselves up for a second set of racks going down. At the same time, DC is that they haven't really lost anything significant. They can still start jumping away. I mean, still have the Aegis on the Viper, for God's sake.
They're not stopping.
Fear of Infamous right now. Shycart has a decent amount of items, but he doesn't have the damage to stand up to get against this DC lineup. who have the Oracle behind them, who have AoE, with not just the mechanism, but also the Pipe of Insights, making them that much more tanky.
So as the Aegis Immortality does get reclaimed, still, DC are looking really, really strong. They didn't actually use the Aegis in any of those pushes. Like, that is the primary important aspect of those fights, is the fact that they can just do it without the Aegis. They're going to have to be a little bit more careful because they don't have as much insurance, but they still can be aggressive. They still can take objectives, and if they need to wait another 5 minutes for the Aegis, they can. They aren't really scared, and they're not really at a point of weakness, whereas Infamous, they're playing so scared. They're playing really far back, not really using their heroes to any effect, just kind of watching their towers go down, trying to poke at them every now and then, but it just doesn't seem like they've got the draft, they've got the ability to repel DC's pushes.
And if you take a look at the graph, actually, oh god, that's much worse than I thought it would be. DC passed the 20,000 gold mark with everything that's been happening, 10k in terms of experience. That just confirms everything that we've been talking about. Infamous, they don't have the drop, they don't have the power. The only one that's decently found is Z-Talk, and now he's being caught out outside of his base. Root comes there, pops the BKB to get that off of him. That can't be the play continuously here. That just means that the BKB is gonna be on cooldown. That means he can't be in the front line now for the next 70 seconds. It just means another free tower at the very least here. The bear just needs a couple of swipes. That'll be history. DC almost passed the point of no return when it comes to their potential.
They'll go right up
their
again.
Positioning in this game, yeah.
I mean,
Mailerx down, Z-Tox is in the front line, being slowed down by the Aegis from AoE.
the train, it has no brakes. It's going straight on in. Another set of racks down. Maybe Infamous decide they want to go in on this one. Doesn't seem like DC are giving them the opportunity to. A big smoke. They're going right around. They want the bottom racks now. And what's stopping them from getting it? Infamous isn't stopping them.
Absolutely nothing stopping them. The creeps on the base, no backdoor region. Bear is here, lone turret. bo1 just has to right click that on the Mailerx. There's no glyph to stop this. If Infamous won't have any chance of staying in this game, they have to go right now. It's already too late. This is Mega Creeps 30 minutes into the game. And
30 minutes with 13
kills.
kills.
This. Yeah.
14 now.
That is, yeah, Z-Talk knows. Everyone knows.
Oh boy.
Should have been calling GG before they disconnect though. It's a little bit BM, but hey. DC won this game by all rights.
Okay.
Well, that's the auto pause when someone disconnects, and there's still never some right call. Gets greeted at the edge.
That was a pretty anticlimactic way to end this game, or very climactic depending on what kind of ending you're looking for, but Infamous, a passive style, ends up biting them in the butt, and they will get brought down. Of course, Excel calling GG after all of his teammates just decide to leave him for dead.
Yeah, props to Excel for that. I mean, that would have been a little bit too salty there for my taste. If they just disconnected and didn't GG out properly at the end. But hey, Digital Chaos showing us that they are a force to be reckoned with, not just in this tournament, but of course they are now at 8-0, sitting well at the top of the chart. Infamous down 5-3, still not bad